Pauline Njoroge is coming out with a political news here after the current government had implemented heavy taxation to Kenyans based on heavy vehicles and bread. And I analyzed it and I said that this is not the right thing to do because our economy is going to sink if government will continue with this heavy taxation crisis. The Pauline Njoroge's dossier is here with us. This is whatever Njoroge is saying. Poor Elijah, assuming Elijah owns a Toyota Axio value at 1.5 million Kenyan shilling, then the proposed motor vehicle tax means that Elijah will be paying about 37,500 Kenyan shillings a year. That is an average of 3,125 Kenyans per month, which will be coughed by Elijah from the monthly income. Remember that Elijah had paid nearly 45,000 Kenyans at the point of importation of his Toyota Axio. That is Pauline Njoroge. He continued by saying he has to regularly visit the garage because the roads conditions, especially of the main roads, are in poor condition. On the contrary, his tax is being used to pay presidential advisor nearly 2 billion annually. His tax is being used to make international presidential trips every 10 days. His tax is being used to import substandard fertilizers and other inputs. Carried on by saying he has to look for private hospitals for healthcare since there is sub-optional services in the MOH hospitals, or they are not even available in his hood. He has to take his kids to a private school since there are public schools in his hood and or the quality is poor. He has to spend days in the dark since power reliability is becoming a big challenge. He has to pay for security money in his estate because there is no security. He has to regularly visit the garage because the roads condition, especially of the main roads, in the poor condition. Isitoshe, driving the same vehicle requires fuel, which attracts nearly 40% in tax for every liter consumed. So if Elijah consumes like 50 liters per month, then he pays tax worth nearly 4,000 per month. The same vehicle is also attracting an annual insurance estimated as around 4% of the value of the vehicle. The same insurance is also taxed. Elijah in some cases want to evade the heavy traffic in the city and then opts to use the expressway. The same road is tolled. Why Elijah will be happy to pay tax? While Elijah will be happy to pay tax and receive optional services, the opposite happens. You see whatever Pauline Njoroge is saying. So she has mentioned the heavy taxation which is being implemented by the government. Furthermore, also mention the bread that was vehicle. Upon being told that as starving peasant subjects as had no bread, Maria Antoinette, the Queen of France, replied, "Let them eat cake." Dear hustlers, your government is telling you to eat cake if you think bread is too expensive after tax increase. All those remarks comes from Pauline Njoroge's page. And as you know, whatever is now happening in the country is that the government have decided to torment millions of Kenyans with heavy taxation. As you know, we politicians, what we normally say is just to rectify the mistake which is being done by the government. I want us to break this Pauline Njoroge's tweet into analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Before I carry on with this, if this might be your first time watching me at Down Kenya TV YouTube channel, I request you kindly do me a favor. Just take a 1 second and click that notification bell and subscribe to our channel. And I want to appreciate members for their great effort they always do to this channel. Please also consider to give this video a thumb of like. When you like this video, it will reach to several people in the YouTube community. Let's proceed. Why do you think Pauline Njoroge is now exposing the UDA government on their heavy taxation deal? Number one, I mentioned Nyakango on our previous analysis, and I said that Nyakango is having interest to expose whatever the government is always after taxation. The same government is talking about Asala narratives. The same government understands that millions of Kenyans cannot afford the food on the table. The same government understands that Kenyans voted for them because they had hope and belief that this is the Asla government which is going to understand the welfare of the poor Kenyans. But it has turned to ironical, where now Kenyans who voted with a zeal and zest to the same government are no longer being treated as the rich guys who live in Runda, the rich guys who live in various parts across the country, those who are capable to afford even the food on the table. So Pauline Njoroge is now coming and differs with the government. She's saying that as much as you are implementing taxes on the vehicles and the bread, that those who are going to suffer on this, for instance, the matatus who are going to park or private owners, some are using Ubers, they are going to increase the prices on those who are using Ubers, and that will begin. Kenyans are going to be forced to remove more capital in their pocket. So that is what Pauline Njoroge is now trying to clarify to the government, that they ought to consider and think before they do anything or any changes. The issue of bread, you listen to whatever I've read. It is now countrywide, and every person, be it diaspora or across the villages, they now understand that the government have implemented the bread taxation, which is good because any person in the country must pay tax. But under which circumstances are we supposed to pay tax? Under what circumstances are we supposed to pay tax? Those are the questions which we ought also to ask ourselves. Because you cannot just come in a day, then you implement your own rules. And you know very well that people's consent are always sought on decision making, which is true. Any government, before they do anything, they must consult people. It is well planned and drafted in Kenya's constitution that any person, be it the president, be it the governor, be any person, must consult with the people, whereby after consultation their consent are always sought in decision making, and this decision making will either determine if it's well planned, if it is positive to Kenyans or negative to Kenyans. So the issue of heavy taxation is now looming on a very serious move, where now Kenyans, I was just also perusing the comment, Kenyans are commenting negatively because the government have now decided to implement another stress to millions of Kenyans who lacks job, who can't pay even house bill, who can't even afford sugar, who can't even afford the oil which they used to cook. So I call upon the government, as last month I advised them on the doctor strike, and I'm very much impressed they listened to me. I want to say this, that as much as you are implementing heavy taxation, you must also check on incapable Kenyans who are outside there who can't afford even bread and sugar on the table. So the wrong direction you are doing is contradicting to whatever Pauline Njoroge is saying. So you must stop this with immediate effect and leave Kenyans to live on their previous life the way they were before. Remember, these people voted for you with the hope that you are going to change and make their life to be on a better situation. Now look at this. Whatever is taking place in the country is very wrong. You must now wake up from your slumber if you want to secure 2027 votes. This marks the end of our analysis. And for final decision or observation is that Pauline Njoroge have checked this government as a failure government, a government which dictates Kenyans, a government with no compassionate heart to Kenyans. So they must change and avoid these political differences emerging in our country. This marks the end of our analysis. Ladies and gentlemen, what are your opinion on this Pauline Njoroge's tweet?